In theory, the UFC is clean. Every fighter gets randomly tested. USADA used to knock on your door at 5 a.m. They brag about being the most advanced anti-doping program in sports. In reality, fighters have been gaming the system for years, and some of them have turned it into an art form. From microdosing to designer drugs to flat-out evasion, this is how UFC fighters take steroids and get away with it. Because if you think everyone on that card is natural, you're probably still waiting for USADA to come back. The UFC loves to market its anti-doping partnership, first with USADA and now with Drug Free Sport International. They test fighters all year, anytime, anywhere.
This man won't get out of my house because I didn't give him enough piss. I'm pissed all like him.
Sounds bulletproof, right? Except, random doesn't always mean random. According to fighters like Chito Vera, USADA mostly tested between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., which means there's a 12-hour window every single day where you could be juicing your face off and no one's knocking. It's like telling kids not to cheat on a test, but then leaving the answer key in the desk overnight. And that's where the fun begins, because fighters have figured out how to exploit every crack in the system. Let's start with the most popular one, microdosing. Microdosing is steroid use on stealth mode. Instead of blasting 500 milligrams of testosterone a week like a bodybuilder, fighters take tiny doses, just enough to recover faster and stay under the radar. The goal is to keep blood levels right below detection thresholds. You could take a microdose right after a drug test and have it be completely cleared before the next one. Common microdose drugs include testosterone, EPO, and growth hormone. Testosterone builds muscle. EPO helps you gas out less, basically turning your cardio from human to triathlete. Growth hormone helps you heal faster, recover better, and keeps you looking like a marble statue. All in trace amounts, and all undetectable if timed right. And if you think fighters figure that out themselves, think again. Most of them get help from doctors, coaches, or nutritionists who conveniently have a PhD in chemistry and no moral compass. It's a cat and mouse game between science and ethics, and in the UFC, science is winning by knockout. Then there's the elite tier cheating, designer steroids. They aren't from a shady gym dealer, they're custom built by chemists to be undetectable. They modify the molecular structure of known steroids just enough to keep the anabolic effects, but hide the fingerprints that drug tests look for. It's doping innovation, Silicon Valley style. The Balco scandal in the 2000s introduced the world to the clear, or tetrahydrogestrinone, THG. It was invisible to standard testing until someone snitched. Since then, labs have been cooking up new designer compounds faster than USADA can invent ways to find them. We're talking stuff like desoxylmethyltestosterone, norbolethone, and other tongue twisters that make your muscles big and your conscious small. And it's not even expensive. A few $1,000s and a shady doctor later, and you're chemically untouchable. By the time USADA figures out what's in your bloodstream, you've already changed the formula. It's like playing whack-a-mole, but the moles have PhDs. Some fighters go full James Bond. They don't just take steroids, they take drugs to hide the steroids. These are called masking agents. They work by diluting, disguising, or chemically blocking what testers are trying to find. The classic ones are diuretics, drugs that make you pee more so your urine looks cleaner. It's like shaking up your drinks and no one notices the poison. Except in this case, the poison is synthetic testosterone. Others use epitestosterone, a naturally occurring hormone that balances your T to E ratio. Basically, if your testosterone spikes from a steroid, you inject a little fake epitestosterone to make it look normal. And then there's probenecid, a drug that literally stops your kidneys from excreting steroids, so less ends up in your urine. Fighters even take vitamin B12 to make their diluted pee look normal colored, because yes, the testing labs get suspicious if your urine looks like smart water. These are professional cheaters, not amateurs. It's chemistry class with championship belts. Timing is everything. Fighters know exactly how long each steroid stays in their system. They call it the detection window. Some steroids clear in days, others in weeks. The trick is using ones with short windows or planning your cycle right after a test. So if you get tested Monday morning, you might microdose testosterone that afternoon. By the time the next test rolls around, it's long gone. Testosterone suspension clears in a day or two. Oral steroids like Winstrol or Anavar, they clear in a few weeks. And growth hormone, maybe 72 hours max. Even better, the synthetic version of human growth hormone is chemically identical to your body's natural version, so it's nearly impossible to tell the difference. Combine that with microdosing, and you've got a PED strategy smoother than a GSP takedown. Sure, it's risky, but the payoff? A clean test, a fat paycheck, and fans calling you a genetic freak. Then there's the oldest trick in the book, just don't get tested. Under USADA, fighters had to provide their location 24/7. If you had 3 whereabout failures in a year, you got suspended. But what about 1 or 2? That's basically a free pass. Many fighters allegedly use those failures to buy time for a cycle. 2 strikes and you're still in the clear. Nick Diaz famously got suspended for it back in 2017 after missing 3 tests, but others quietly use the system to their advantage. And then you have the Vanderlei Silva method, literally running away when testers show up. He straight up left the gym mid-session when they arrived. Technically, that's a violation, but there's no positive test. So in a twisted way, he wins. John Jones was infamous for hiding under the octagon to escape USADA testers.
So USADA rolls in to Jackson's gym to do a test on John Jones. And there was only some coaches in there, and there was like 5 people there at the time. So he can see them coming. Where they parked, he can see them coming. So they don't know what to do with him. They hide him underneath the cage. John Jones hides under the cage. They say, well, where is he? He's supposed to, this is his gym. They say, how would I know where he is? So instead of leaving like they thought they would do, they take a seat. Well, there's like 8 hours left in the business day. They don't ever leave. However long with 6 or 8 hour time frame, John's under the cage the entire time. So people are coming and going. The whole thing is finally they shut the lights off and go to lock the doors. Now John can come out.
Some fighters even changed their reported training location last minute, conveniently the day after they recovered from a 6-week steroid cycle. Oops, now I'm in Thailand. Even when fighters stop using, they keep the benefits. That's the part nobody talks about. Steroids don't just make you bigger while you're on them, they change your muscle structure permanently. Steroids increase myonuclei in the muscle cells. Myonuclei are tiny structures that control growth and recovery. These new myonuclei don't disappear when you stop. They stay forever, meaning once you've juiced, you're always one step ahead. So even if a fighter cycles off months before entering the testing pool, they've already locked the gains in. The end result? A clean athlete with a body built on chemical legacy. Technically natural, but practically superhuman. Every few years, testing evolves, and so do the cheats. USADA gets better equipment, and fighters get smarter chemists. Now that the UFC switched to drug-free sport international, everyone's pretending the system's more efficient. But in reality, it's just the same game with a new referee. The UFC doesn't want another John Jones level scandal. They want plausible deniability to say, hey, we tested them, while keeping the product strong, fast, and marketable. After all, a clean sport is good for headlines, but freak athletes sell pay-per-views. Now let's talk about the fighters who did get caught, because even in a system designed to mess, a few people still trip the wire. These cases aren't ancient history, they're the modern era, that supposed clean era. If you look closely, it tells you just how inconsistent the system really is. First up, Sean O'Malley. Sean tested positive not once, but twice for Osterine, a selective androgen receptor modulator, aka a SARM, that basically gives you the muscle building benefits of steroids without the injection marks. O'Malley claimed he absorbed it from the sweat of one of his training partners.
So I got suspended a couple years ago, and it always drove me crazy anytime people would bring it up because like, you did steroids. I didn't do shit, fucking pussies. And I remember when it happened, my levels were so low, the scientists were like, I mean, it has to be a tainted supplement. But we tested all those supplements that I was taking at the time, and there was nothing in there. It was not in any of those supplements. And it was me, Tanquino, and Kyler. We all trained at the same gym, all tested, all levels so fucking low. None of us took anything. We all swore on our lives. And I remember asking USADA and the UFC, I'm like, can it be transferred through sweat? And they said, no, not at this time. There's no studies. It's never happened. Just recently, studies came out, scientists, athletes, it happened. It happened on someone's like knee band. Someone was sharing a knee band. They tested for Osterine, and they tested the knee band, but it came back that Osterine and those kind of tainted supplements can be through sweat exchange. It fucked with me for so long.
Really, nigga?
He got a 6-month slap on the wrist and came back to start starching everyone. Then there's Islam Makhachev. Before he became champ, Islam popped for meldonium, the same drug that got Maria Sharapova banned from tennis. It increases oxygen delivery and stamina. Makhachev's defense was that he said it was prescribed for a heart issue back in 2015. And honestly, that might be true, but it also conveniently meant he never served a real suspension. Brian Ortega, the man who made jiu-jitsu look cinematic, also started his career with a failed test. After his UFC debut in 2014, he tested positive for drostanolone, an anabolic steroid known for adding lean muscle without bloat. The result was overturned to a no contest, and he was fined $2,500 and sat out for 9 months. To his credit, Ortega cleaned up afterward and became one of the top featherweights in the world, but it's a reminder that clean fighters often start their careers a little enhanced. Marvin Vettori got hit for Osterine, the same drug as O'Malley, in 2018. USADA said it was likely from a contaminated supplement and found no evidence of intentional use and gave him 6 months. If you're noticing a pattern here, it's that Osterine apparently floats around MMA gyms like glitter. Everyone's covered in it and nobody's responsible. Vettori went on to become a contender, and his post-suspension physique looks suspiciously identical. Maybe that supplement was worth keeping after all. Then there's Michael Oleksajic, who tested positive for clomiphene. Now, clomiphene isn't technically a steroid, it's an anti-estrogen drug used to restart your body's natural testosterone after cycling. The translation is, he didn't get caught taking steroids, he got caught cleaning up after them. He got a year suspension, which in MMA time is basically a gap year to lift and reflect. In his return fight, he had another first-round finish. Go figure. And finally, Paulo Costa, because of course. Costa didn't get busted for steroids, he got busted for taking IV infusions over the legal limit. Apparently, he was getting post-weigh-in IVs of more than 100 milliliters in 12 hours. Twice. One at UFC 212 and one at UFC 217. He got 6 months, a fine, and then immediately returned looking like an action figure sculpted by God himself. If that's punishment, sign everyone up. 6 months here, 9 months there, and they're back stronger and faster. If that's a penalty for cheating, is it even a deterrent? Some get cleared, some get reduced sentences, and some just disappear into the next cycle. But they all prove as simple. The testing works just enough to make fans feel good, and fails just enough to keep the stars in the cards. So how do you fix this? Simple. You can't. But you can make it harder to cheat, because until the incentives change, nothing will. Fighters will keep chasing edges, promoters will keep looking away, and fans will keep pretending their favorite fighter's physique came from chicken and rice.
That's fucking illegal.
Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment for the sake of the algorithm. I'll see you guys next time.